What's up, fight fans? Thank you once again for coming through. Much appreciate. Remember, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. If you're not new, come back to watch another video. Honestly, much appreciate. Thank you very much. All right, let's talk heavyweight boxing. Almost the forgotten man of heavyweight boxing. The guy that does have a belt. I think it's what, the WBO belt. WBO belt. Yeah, Joseph Parker from New Zealand, who last fought against Hughie Fury in Manchester on YouTube. Right, YouTube pay-per-view. By the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I feel like, even I did a video about it, almost cussing it a little bit. I was cussing the fact it was pay-per-view, by the way. I wasn't cussing the fact that the fight was on YouTube. I don't think there's anything wrong with a fight being on YouTube. I think people need to think outside the box. I think it's harder getting TV dates and TV deals. And let's be honest, I think more people probably watch YouTube than TV. So I don't think there's anything wrong. I think Dylan White and I think Derek Chisora laughed at the fact that he was fighting on YouTube, and those guys need to realize YouTube is kind of the future. David Haye was rumored to, remember when David Haye was doing all that comeback crap and he fought on Dave TV? He was actually supposed to fight on YouTube prior to that. There was talk about him fighting on YouTube. It didn't quite work down. I think, again, he was going to do a pay-per-view thing, and I think they kind of squashed it early. But Joseph Parker fighting on YouTube, absolutely nothing wrong whatsoever. Nothing wrong whatsoever. And I think fight fans and fighters need to kind of think outside the box and think that that probably is going to be the future. And I think Joseph Parker and his team done a good job in getting it on there, if I'm honest with you. Alright, let's talk what's next for Joseph Parker. Very, very quick video. Obviously, it's rumored that he will now fight, or possibly fight next, Lucas Browne. Lucas Browne versus Joseph Parker. This is a big sort of New Zealand versus Australia clash, and it will generate good numbers, whether it's in Sydney or whether it's in Auckland. Lucas Browne, who I think had one fight in 2017 against a guy with a losing record. Obviously, he fought Shagayev. That fight got kind of down as a no contest now, even though he knocked Shagayev out. By the way, that was a good performance against Shagayev. He's been banned twice in the last 20 months for taking performance-enhancing drugs. Once, probably not his fault. The second, admittedly, he said it was his fault. Bought something off the shelf that had substances in it. Every fighter seems to say that bullshit nowadays. But they're talking about that fight potentially happening. Look, if it's a big money fight for the New Zealand versus Australian fighter, then look, by all means, go ahead and do it. The only problem is there's a few stumbling blocks. Number one is that Lucas Browne isn't ranked nowhere near the top 50 in the WBO, so he's probably going to have to take a warm-up fight to somehow get himself in the rankings. Because even if it's a voluntary, the guy still has to be in the top 15. Lucas Browne isn't in the top 15. Lucas Browne is undefeated, 25 fights, 22 wins by knockout, so he can punch. It could be interesting for a few rounds, but I just don't know how serious he is right now. I don't know how much shape he's in. He turned down the Dylan White fight because he said he wasn't in shape. Obviously, this gives him a long time to get in shape, but I just don't know about Lucas Browne. I'm not sure, especially with the performance-enhancing drugs thing. I'm not convinced. He does have a good couple of wins on the record. I think Shagayev obviously was a good performance, if it was him being natural, so to speak. And Rudenko, I think Rudenko was unbeaten at the time that Lucas Browne fought him, so to get the win over Rudenko wasn't too shabby either. I just don't think that's deserving of a world title shot. Then again, people might say, look, Hughie Fury is kind of the same-ish record. I agree, but I don't know what you've done to deserve a world title shot. This is what it is now. This is world title. We're not talking a Commonwealth or a European or a Pacific heavyweight title. We're talking a world title. You know, I look at the direction that Joseph Parker's going in, and I'm not sure there's one, if I'm honest with you. I'm not sure that his handlers, his managers, promoters, trainers, whatever, actually know what they're doing. I mean, you listen to Eddie Hearn sometimes, right? And Eddie Hearn seems to almost have a plan mapped out. You're going to go that route, you're going to take on him, and this is how much money you're going to get for. And that's kind of what he does. I feel like with Joseph Parker, he's not quite sure where he is right now. Yes, he's got a world title, but again, it's a world title that not many people are giving much credence to. And I feel like he's being called out by a lot of people because they look at him as the easier of the three, which is probably true, and that's no disrespect, obviously, Joshua and Wilder. And I think it's a case for him as making as much money as possible, I think, until he fights one of those two. Because I do believe if he fights either of Joshua or Wilder, he loses. So what do? Do you take a risk and fight someone like a Dylan White, which I think is a very risky fight for him? Or maybe a Tony Bellew, which I think is a winnable, but again, possibly a risky fight? Or do you maybe do against Lucas Browne? They probably looked at the numbers. It's probably going to be a stadium fight. It's a big fight. It brings in a lot more of that, and the risk element, I guess, is a lot less than fighting the Dillian Whyte or maybe a Tony Bellew. But it doesn't help your profile. It doesn't help your profile. So if you do beat a Lucas Browne, which you probably will do, when you go to the negotiating table with a Joshua or a Wilder or any of the other top guys, they'll look at the numbers, and you still look like a small fish to them. Your profile is still quite small, and I feel like for him to grow that profile bigger, he needs to fight a big name. He needs a big one on the record. I don't know. I'm looking at someone like a Povetkin, someone like that. You beat a Povetkin, and for me, you're a legit top 5 heavyweight in the world. Legit. Right now, I don't know what Lucas Browne does for you, apart from possibly making you a bit richer. Possibly. I still don't know if that's a bigger fight financially than a Dillian Whyte or Tony Bellew or I dare say David Haye in the UK. All those fights will probably jump on pay-per-view, and I don't know if it's bigger than that. But I just feel like the direction that they're going in with Joseph Parker is almost a blind one right now. What do you guys think? Let me know, please.